currently, as I'm recording this, the moon is exactly squaring Mars. That'll pass. What's Aquarius? Mars and Aquarius? Huh. The moon is exactly squaring Mars in Aquarius. And Venus in Aquarius is exactly squaring Uranus. I also still got that fucking Mercury in Pisces. So, moon square Mars. Moon and Mars in a hard aspect together, or square, or in opposition, can be kind of hard. Can be kind of quick. Can be kind of quick. Sagittarius. Keep your balance. Okay, this is talking about our ideals. This is talking about our beliefs. You could have Mars in any of these signs. If you do, then this reading could specifically be for you. Now, we all have these signs somewhere in our chart. We all function like these signs somewhere in our life. Sometimes, okay? If we have planets in a different sign, Gemini really wanted to show up too. You could have Mars in either Gemini, Libra, or Sagittarius. God, I can't open my eyes. There's risk in having Mars in any of these signs. Mars is a risky planet, right? It is god of war. It's action. It's shut the fuck up. And even if you don't have Mars, this could be something that could be coming out today with Mars squaring the moon, with the moon squaring Mars. And this reading's not going to be posted until later, but think about how the day went today. This is to help you notice. Now, if you are watching this video on a day that is not the day that the moon is squaring Mars, it could be a specific sign for you for when you're watching it. Readings are timeless, okay? You can listen to them and watch them anytime, and the messages are going to make sense for you. Also, the moon is going to square Mars again pretty quickly. Every month it squares Mars twice, and it goes opposite Mars once, and it goes conjunct Mars once. So it's kind of helpful to notice what happens. This is how we get the astrological weather forecast. And we can know and give ourselves compassion because we know we're being pulled by the planets. Like I was saying yesterday, we got Mercury in fucking Pisces and it sucks fat balls. Like, I stumble over my words. Sometimes when I get into a channel, then I can actually do it because I do have a strong Mercury in my chart. But then I switch into Jupiter mode and forget what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, like you can get really hard on yourself when you stumble over your words, and Mars and the moon, if you get frustrated, if you speak out of turn, if you say things off the cuff, Mars and Sagittarius, you get all fired up and yell about your beliefs. Mars and fucking Venus ruled sign, that's Mars in its fall right there. You might be the devil's advocate always. Oh, I do that. If you have any Libra, you could be the devil's advocate. Or you could... See, this is something that I don't like, actually. I don't like that they say balance for Libra. Because Libra is not all about balance. Libra is about the scales. And the scales are not always balanced, are they? They're not here. So oftentimes Libra can be about either trying to keep equilibrium. When things are really not supposed to be kept in equilibrium, they're supposed to maybe separate or discuss or whatever. Sometimes they are the devil's advocate and they throw things off balance. Sag, with their beliefs, with other possible ways of being, they throw things off balance. They throw things to the other side, Gemini, just to stir things up. You could have Mars and Gemini. Mars and Gemini is really rough too. It's really, really quick energy. Similar like if you have Mars opposite the moon, right? Now the quickest signs to me are Aries and Gemini. Aries because it's masculine, it's Mars, it's fire, and it's cardinal, okay? Gemini because it's air. Things move quickly on the air, okay? It's masculine. It's mutable, so things can move. And it is, what am I missing? Air, masculine, Mercury. So quickly, So you can, and, people often say that Gemini is the one with the two-face. So if you have Mars and Gemini, it could be like changing your mind very, very quickly. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It could be that you just, Gemini is the one that has to do with our words more than anything else. Is the communicator, okay? Mercury, right? Mercury, the air sign of Mercury, the masculine active sign of Mercury, right? So if you got Mars in Gemini, then it can be like all of a sudden you quickly say things off the cuff. You quickly take an action. It can be good. Sometimes we want to take quick random action. Sometimes we're fated to do that, right? But these are the things that we watch for. These are the things that we have compassion for within ourselves, and when we're being pulled by the planets with the transits, right? So we'll leave these out and we'll get into it. We want to be steady like the sun. We want to be steady like the sun, something that is not wavering. Whereas this wavers. Mars and Sag. When it comes to this, we want to waver. When it comes to this, we want to waver. We do not want to become too stuck in our ideals. See, I'm still doing the Mercury and Pisces thing. Hiccuping. We don't want to be stuck in our ideals. That's like when the Hierophant turns into the devil, okay? If our tradition, we must be tradition keepers. It's good to keep tradition. Now, in the tarot, they talk about walking the middle path. It's kind of like the Buddhist middle way. It's temperance. Temperance is the halfway, is the mixture between the devil and the Hierophant. It's 5, right? 14 is temperance, which is 5. The Hierophant is 5, and the devil is 15. Okay? The way that we keep balance between the Hierophant and the devil, the way that we don't become stuck in our ideals, and then it becomes something that causes separation instead of togetherness. We walk the middle line. And we know that just because we get some sort of insight, that it can change. My theories, my channels have changed over the years, over time. Okay. My milk was spoiled this morning. I put it in my coffee and I took a couple sips. Something could be spoiled. Something could be spoiling or going sour. Something could be spoiling or going sour. Something that once was very balanced. It's like evil twins coming out. That's a really specific message, okay? You gotta have discernment when listening to my readings. You got to. Because some messages are going to be specifically for some people and other messages are going to be specifically for others. Now, what is always going to be true is that the path always leads in the same direction. So if I'm talking about something specific, one specific manifestation of the cards, chances are that the next time it spins around that you're going to have to be dealing with these archetypes again, because we're constantly cycling through the cards in order, and we do go through the whole thing once in a day. We go through the whole thing once in an hour. We go through the whole thing once in a moment. So yeah, you are going to. The sun is going to rise again, and you are going to get a new chance to play the game. You are going to get a new chance to rise up and to do something with your day. So if I'm talking about a specific situation, the answer is always the same, because the path always leads in the same direction. Now, this is hilarious because, I made a comment. That's what it was. I made a comment. Someone asked me about my art. So if you don't know my artwork, if you just know me from, I don't know, YouTube or something, you can check out my Instagram or you can check out my website and see the kind of art that I do. I used to channel in my art more than, I never used to do that. This is not something that I chose to do, okay? This is not something that I ever chose to do. Interesting. Okay. He asked me if I do my designs freehand, right? And no, I don't. And for my big paintings, I don't. I will sketch out, and I can do a pretty good fucking circle. Like, I know how to draw a circle pretty well. But here's the thing, okay? And this relates, of course, I've noticed that all the way that I do my art is very similar to certain truths, to the way that I teach, to my teachings. Isn't that great that I have like a visual representation in that way? But, what was I saying? Jupiter mode. Oh, for these things that, like, especially the fractals, I'm always saying that this is a fractal, am I not? Okay? For the fractals that I draw and that I paint, if I want it to look like very, very, now there's always going to be mistakes. I want to have mistakes in my paintings. I don't want it to be perfect. I do leave room for that. But when it comes to the designs, it's like, if I were to make a little imperfection at the beginning of a cycle, like at the beginning of a spin, then by the time I got way out here in the painting and the big paintings, then that little mistake, that little like imperfection in the line is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's going to go out. And then you're going to be able to see it a lot. Now, just one little mistake down here, but because they all have to go one after the other, it's like a ripple in still water, guys. This is like a ripple effect. This is how we make predictions. How we should make predictions. How I would like to teach us to make predictions. I think it's a healthier way to make predictions, especially in the age of air. That we make the prediction because we know how we're acting right now. And we know that if we act in a way right now, in a certain way, this is the toad code, that it is going to have consequences. I see the Tower right here. These are not the cards of the day. This is just illustrating my point, okay? As they do, all right? This is the toad code, and this is a toadism that I say all the time. At the level of the lovers is where the timeline splits, is where the fractal splits when we start a new one, where we get to make choice, okay? And so if you make a choice that is not in alignment with your morals and values, that is not based on a firm foundation, that is not balanced with the toad code, that is based on fear, that is based on, if you are settling, it is going to end in a Tower moment. What you build, what you start building at the level of the lovers with your choices is either going to be built to last, and it's going to get you right up there, or it is coming back down. It's coming back down to earth. Are you listening? We walk alone in the dark until we get to the sun. Well, I got in a channel this morning. How nice. How nice. Hi guys, if you don't know me, my name is Toad. I'm an artist, I'm a channel, I'm a medium, I'm a Hellenistic astrologer, I'm a tarot instructor and a tarot reader, and I offer a different perspective on these things. So follow along and find out more. I did shuffle this a little bit, or I did like do a little thingy thing, and then the Maiden came out. Maybe I should keep that. It's number 14. I was talking about temperance. Was I not talking about how we need to temper this? We need to temper. We need to temper our anger. Now, most people do think of temperance as a Sagittarius card. I don't. I think that everyone needs temperance. Sagittarius is probably need a lot of temperance. They can get too hung up on their ideals. You do not want to turn to the beast. Get it? Do we need a message from the fairies? Let's just get one. The Maiden is about newness. 14. 14 is the number of temperance. New cycle beginning. Something that must be nurtured. We'll see if it comes back out. Something that must be nurtured. Luminous gloom. Oh my god, this is too many. Death. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, no, this is important though. This is so important. Damn it. We got Laist again. Didn't we get her yesterday? These are some scary ones. Now, there are some that have come reversed. We have Luminous gloom. I knew that I was going to talk about this with this fucking rain today. I'm pulling out the dark decks today. We got Luminous gloom. We have Death reversed. We have the Soul Shrinker, which I've been thinking about a lot. We have the Dark Lady. It's like new moon energy. And we have the Feline reversed. I have been really feeling, and with that sour milk thing, something's spoiling. So we'll see. It's just kind of a lot. Is there just one, maybe? Here's that Singer of Transfiguration again. Yeah, we need to transfigure it. There's Mickle. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, fuck. I am gonna leave them out, but I don't know if I'm gonna... We'll see. So I am feeling like... I think what we're discussing today is our anger and our aggression, our frustration, our actions in the world, right? With Mars and the effects that they have. And also there's these different ways that we can act with these archetypes, these energies. This is the risk that we might do when we're confronted with confrontation, when we're confronted with something. Mars, right? How are we going to act? Are we going to be overly righteous, overly stuck to our ideals? Are we going to switch back and forth? Say something mean? Are we going to say something mean? Someone's overly idealistic when it comes to their beliefs about the world and about how dark things are. Luminous gloom. 222. It's the horse. Confidence. Confidence and trust. Confidence was reversed. Adaptation. Trust and adaptation. And instinct. This is interesting. Okay. We're talking about the things that pull us today. We're talking about the planets. You know, in Vedic astrology, they call them grahas. The planets were grabbers. They pull us. But we are not our planets. We are not the signs. We need to trust in our ability to adapt and Let me get into the tarot. Let me just get into the tarot. As we start, it's all we need. We gotta trust. We gotta trust, we gotta surrender. Okay. So, say you have a really hard placement in your chart. Maybe you have Mercury in Pisces in your natal chart, you know? Maybe you have, maybe you have Mars in Gemini, or Mars in Sag, or Mars in Libra, or Mars opposite the moon, or Mars square the moon. They can be difficult. Maybe you have a planet in its fall, in exile. This is where, there are certain things that are fated and there are certain things that are not, right? This is something that I always say. It's like, we're fated to have this is a totemism. We're fated to have the sun rise every day. We're fated to have, and then we do judgment. We're fated to have the moon go through its phases. We're fated to have, certain energies come into play. We're fated to have rainy days sometimes. It's how we react to it, and it's what we do with those things that are fated, that we cannot control. It's how we control the things around it, right? That make a difference. That's when we create our free will. This is part of how I teach that's different, is that I believe that we can, once we really see how all of our placements are working for us or against us, we can choose to do it differently. We can try. Even if it's really, really, really hard, like having a Mars or a moon placement or a Mercury, there's so many things, right? Mercury in the 12th, Mars or Mercury in the 12th, it's just, there's lots of different things. What's in your 12th house? What's the ruler, the whole sign ruler of your 12th house? Could be your self-undoing. Could be where you act a fool, where you don't see. Now, first like I always say, first we have compassion with ourselves. So it was when I first started studying astrology, I was dating this guy and we got into our first little disagreement. And I realized, I'm oh, he's not actually acting like a dick. He's not actually acting like a dick. He's got his moon in Aquarius in the 7th house. He goes cold. He functions differently. His programming is different. Okay? Everyone has different programming. Everyone has a different code, a different digital code. It then connects in with the code that's playing out all the time, the transiting planets in the sky. Now, we notice it, and then like I always say, especially with these quick moving planets, we're gonna make mistakes. We're going to fly off the cuff sometimes. We're gonna get angry. We're gonna be frustrated sometimes. We're gonna be pulled by the planets. Okay? And that's when we have to have compassion with ourselves, right? But then we can strive to do it differently. Like I always say, we are not our planets. We are not our signs. We're all the center of the wheel. It's the expression of things that comes out from the center that then makes up everything that we see and everything that we do. And sometimes we really like it. Like I say, sometimes we really like the separation. Sometimes we want to be separate from each other. Sometimes we want to be different. Sometimes we want to have different parts and different strengths and different weaknesses so that we can enjoy something different than just us. We want to be light and dark. We want to be man and woman. We want to be yin and yang in order to create something nice. Sometimes we really don't like the separation, Sometimes we really don't like the way that the wheel is spinning for us. So we don't like the pull of the planets, all right? And that's when I like to say we want to try to find the totemism center of the wheel. We want to find our center. And this is why meditation is so important. And I'm just as annoyed with this too, okay? There's something that I wanted to say. It's we can start making better decisions. We can start making better decisions for our brain. We can start meditating, but it doesn't have to become your whole identity. I already did that. I was really into yoga and really into meditation and all of that stuff for a long time. It doesn't have to become our whole identity, Sagittarius. Because it might change. And it's you can take Prozac and it's good for your brain, but you don't have to become a Prozac dealer. You don't have to make it become your whole personality, your whole identity. No, we do what we have to do. You can be spiritual. You can be a spiritual person, okay? And you don't have to look like it. That's spiritual. That's performative. Okay? We want the real deal. Guys, we want the real deal. And so we all do have Mars somewhere. Some people believe that they don't. I was talking to someone. He's like, I don't get angry. I don't get angry. I'm like, everyone gets angry. Everyone has Mars and in there somewhere. And if it's very, very subdued, it might burst out at certain times or come out as like passive aggressiveness or jealousy or holding grudges forever. That's not very adaptable. That's when we become. I said yesterday something about like Pisces and Mercury and Pisces being like the bog of eternal stench. Really, I was thinking about it, I'm like, Scorpio is more like the bog of eternal stench. Mercury functions better in Scorpio, but Scorpio likes to hold on to things. We want to be like the river, Scorpio. Moon is in Scorpio. We want to let things flow towards a destination. We don't want to hold on to things. So it's fixed earth. The fixed signs means they're steady in their ways. You know, they can get the job done. They can see the job through. And when that comes to Mars, a water sign, a feminine sign, a Mars sign, a water sign, it could be a swamp. You can hold on to things. You can fester. You can stir, right? Mars. Or the other way that we could be with a fixed Mars sign is fixed in our direction. Fixed in our course towards what we want. We're always going to get to the sun. No matter how dark the night. No matter how long the cycle. We go through big ones and we go through little ones. And so if you've been feeling like you are, it's kind of like the planets. Like if all your planets were like down, you know, it's like sometimes we're up, sometimes we're feeling good, sometimes we're feeling light, and sometimes we're feeling down, right? And there's lots of little cycles starting all the time. So even if it seems like all of your cycles, all of your spins are going down, this fucking coffee fucked me up. It's coming up. Eventually it will come up again. But it's really like when things are going down, when we start to notice like a cycle's going down and we just focus on that, it keeps us there. It keeps us there. When we put attention towards anything, it grows. Energy goes where attention flows. So when we make mistakes, when we do things that we don't necessarily like, either whether or not it's with a partner or with a person, in a relationship, any kind of relationship, like Mars and Venus, what do I always say? They're very relational. They're very human signs. So it usually does have to do with people around us and how we act around them, right? Our relationships are one of the most important things we do, and they're also very hard, okay? So they're also very hard, and we get the 5 of Wands. This is the struggle. So when you're having fights, when you're having Mars issues, right? We admit that we have them. We're like, oh shit. Like when you can react. You're gonna react in a certain way, and things are gonna happen, right? But as soon as you get a chance to calm down, be like, that was my Mars in Libra. That was my Mars in Gemini acting up. Sorry, that was my Leo. That was my pride coming out. I'm so sorry. My Jupiter in Gemini came out and I talked too much. I'm so sorry. I got overly idealistic. I got too fiery. I blew your head off. I'm so sorry. Do you forgive me? I'm going to try to do better next time. This is what I always say with the Toad Code. It's like, do you have the tools to provide me with my needs? This is laying it all out on the table. Because if you don't lay it out on the table, that's how tower moments are going to happen. If you don't say, this is who I am. This is who I am. This is what I do. We all have shit. Do you have the tools to provide me with my needs? Do you have the respect for my boundaries? And can you handle my shit? Because if you come into anything, any kind of partnership or any kind of anything, being like, I don't have any shit, I'm not working on anything, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. I'll tell you that much. Some people's shit you can handle and other people's you can't. Now this can show up in the natal chart. It can show up in synastry. I want you to be very, very careful with synastry. Okay? But not everyone's issues are going to vibe with your issues. Sometimes we're supposed to trigger each other, especially if it is your divine counterpart. There's going to be triggers and things that force us to do the rest of the healing work, force us to grow. But when it comes to like the deep trauma, the issues that we have, whatever kind of mental issues, whatever kind of, whatever the pull is that we don't like. We all have a Mars. We all have anger. We all have aggression. We all say things. We all make mistakes. Okay? So everyone is going to have a Mars. Everyone is going to have an issue. And no matter who you get into a relationship with, whether or not this is where we're talking about a friendship or a work relationship, a family member, or a partner, it's still the first and the seventh house. It's still the self and the other. When we're talking about anyone that we relate with one-on-one, it's the self and it's the other, okay? And that's an opposition in the zodiac. An opposition of the nature of Saturn, okay? You're separate. We're always separate. We come back together at the sun. Where's the Two of Cups? Where'd it go? I did see it in the other deck too. Two of Cups wanted to come out because it represents this, right? It's a separation. We can't ever be, I said this in my reading yesterday too. Can't always know the other person. Eventually we just have to trust what they're saying. Especially if they're acting righteously, if they follow the toad code, if they speak the truth, you know? Then you can just let that happen. There's going to be mistakes. That doesn't necessarily mean that every mistake every fight, every mistake has to be a tower moment. It has to be an ending. Okay? Like Mars is going to happen. Towers are going to happen, but some things are built to last. Some things can be built to last. But nothing is built to last if it's not. Nothing is built to last on a foundation where people say that they have no shit. The only way that we get here, that we get to a happy, loving, long-lasting relationship, a family, the house, spouse, the kids, the dogs, something that doesn't just split apart at the seams, is by being open with who we are, you know, working through our differences, working through the shit, not hiding the shit. There's new aces happening all the time. We're constantly having new cycles begin. So how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it now? Because right now we're going to start our masterpiece. As soon as that Saturn fucking hits Neptune, we're going to be starting from the middle again. Okay? Watch the ripples. Watch the motherfucking ripples. I know, it's scary. I make mistakes too. I make bad decisions too. I fuck up my wheel too. And we kind of have to if you want to be a cycle breaker. You kind of have to if you want to be a torchbearer. Because we got to go deep, 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 deep into that dark. If you want to break the cycles of your generations, that means that you get the worst of it. You get the worst of it. Because you got to heal it. But you came here with the power to do so. You have to trust in your power to do so. You have to trust in your ability to adapt. You have to trust in the you have to trust in the world's ability, in the earth's ability to adapt. Have faith. That was a powerful reading. Hi, Emperors. Emperors, wield your sword. How are you going to wield your sword? How are you going to wield your sword, my kings, my queens? The rainy days are going to come. How are you going to think about it? Yeah, fights are going to happen. How are you going to respond to it? I'm keeping them. I'm keeping them. I like him. I'm loving this reading. Way better than yesterday. Sharper. Okay. You see how I just used the cards to get a prompt? The channel. The truths are always the same. The truths are always the same. We start off, this is an important one for me. Is that the king or the queen? King of Cups. Okay. So this is always very important to me. I'm going to remind you guys. I have to remind myself all the time of this too. Okay. If you're ever going to study with me, if you're ever going to practice the toad code, if you're ever going to use these cards, it's best to have one in order. Okay? You might want, if you're learning and you want to know this system, if you want the cheat book to the game of life, then you got to kind of know how the order goes. All right? Especially with the major arcana. But I use the Ace of Cups. I use the Ace of Cups to illustrate this point about the ripple effect, about how, like I was saying in the beginning, how you start one thing, if you start off a cycle in one way, that it's going to have that ripple effect. And that's how we predict. All right. I always mention how the hawk and the eagle are the spirit messengers in the Native American traditions because they can see what's coming along down the road, not because they're magic. All right. They just fly high. We need to have an elevated, more objective perspective on these things. It's helpful. Okay, think about this. Are you a gamer? Have you ever played video games? I haven't really, but just Mario Kart when I was very young. That's how I got my name. But think about it. Like, I remember playing Nintendo with my mom, like Nintendo, Super Nintendo. And, just be like, like move the controller. You get so caught up in the game. Or think about a movie. So I use a movie or a video game as an analogy for these things, right? So in a movie too, like when the movie is good, you get super into those characters. You become the characters, right? An effective thing to do is to remember that we're playing a game and to have an objective point of view so that you don't have to react so strongly, okay? This is what meditation does. This is why I'm always saying we need to develop a meditation practice to put space between us and our thoughts. However, I am trying to talk about this, okay? And this is just really simple, all right? But it's a huge, huge and important truth, okay? Now, a new cycle beginning in the realm of the water. Another 222. 222 is the number of the day. This is about keeping your own cup full. All right. So some people often, like, when you're reading in a divinatory way, people can get really excited seeing the Ace of Cups show up because they're like, oh, there's new love coming in. There's a new opportunity in spiritual fulfillment, in love, in emotion that's coming in. And yeah, sometimes in the way things work, it can be that. But when you're reading the cards, that's very, very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous to think like that. Now, we must always come back to the self with the one, right? We do have a twin. I don't want to talk about that right now. We start with the self. Is your cup full? Do you know how to be happy on your own? Do you know how to keep yourself fulfilled without looking for something outside of yourself besides the basic needs, right? Do you think you can only be happy when you have love or when you have a person or when you have something? But here's what I always say is that if you don't have a full cup, if you're looking for something or someone outside of yourself to fill it, you start your cycle off like this, stop moving, then you're not going to get to a balanced Two of Cups. Everything else in the cycle is going to be imbalanced. Everything else in the cycle is going to be imbalanced as you go. And so no, if you don't have a full cup, you can't get to the Two of Cups, let alone the Ten of Cups. You're happily ever after. It's just not the way that it works. And you can keep pulling cards and pulling cards and pulling cards and pulling cards. But this is the way it's always going to work. On Earth, there's a system. There is an order. There is an order. And in the age of air, the risk is, of course, that, we're all starting to wake up to everything is connected, that this is a matrix, right? And so that when our third eye starts to finally open up, and we see it all at once, and it can be really scary. Like, ah! And so this is why we have to remember the order of things. We do. We have to remember that when we are on Earth, that there is a system, there is an order, and we can control it. We're going to need to follow the fire. This is an intense reading. I'm loving it. King of Cups. If you want to, the Emperor and the Empress, they have all of the kings and all the queens within them. We all have all the kings and all the queens within us, right? So here we're talking about an emperor and his emotional life, his heart. We talk a lot about the fire, of course, but the water is important too. He's upright, emotionally balanced, emotionally stable. He's got a cup. And so going back to these imperfections that we have, because we all have imperfections that make us perfect, but we're not ever going to be perfect. It's like you can be a divine masculine or a divine feminine and still have a lot of issues. The more that you just announce that you have an issue, the more that you accept that you have an issue, the more you can transform it, the more that you can transmute that shit. That Singer of Transmutation before. That Maiden did want to come out. I think I will read the Maiden. It was before I started filming. Here's the Singer of Courage wants to come out. That wanted to come out before. Being an emperor or an empress, stepping into your royal era, your divine self, your divine role. Sylvanias. It means taking off the masks. Which is it gonna be, God. It means taking off the masks. This is about music, order, harmony. This is something that I always say is that, for the future cards, for the things that coming up in the future, we all have the ability we're all gonna have opportunities to live like an emperor or an empress, a king or a queen or not, right? And so we're all going to have the opportunity to sing with the music of the universe. We all have an opportunity to possibly be our true self, That's when we become an emperor or an empress. It's not when we're perfect. It's when we're able to take off the masks completely and be like, this is who I am. These are all my issues. These are all my strengths. I see myself. You can see me too. See me too. There it is. I knew it. We can transfigure everything. It's not that we make it go away. We can't change our placements that are in our chart. We can't. But we can alchemize them. We can transmute them. We can transfigure them. It will become power. All of the darkness can be turned to light. Any Mars placement, any Saturn placement, Saturn and Mars are considered the two malefic planets, right? They're darker, they're harder. Anything can be turned to power. It's like Pluto, right? Pluto's power. Let's just get a couple more cards. I'm loving this reading. This is beautiful. This is because I got to talk a lot about my theories, a lot about the way that I see things. Because it doesn't just have to be one way or another. It doesn't have to just be good or bad. It could be a third special way. That's what it means to keep your eye on the star. To follow the fire. What's happening today? Holy shit. Strength. Be strong. That's the advice. Hierophant's the first card after I cut the deck. Hangman. And the star reversed. We want that upright. Star always is upright. We have the Nine of Pentacles. Someone's just committed and waiting. Just be faithful. If you're committed and waiting for something, you're committed to something. We're moving up in the world. We're having faith. We're trusting. We're flipping the perspective. Ten of Pentacles. 9 to the 10. Someone could be going from single to not single. Hangman, Death, and Temperance. There's the Empress. Aww. The Empress came out with strength. She's the one, she's needing to be strong. We're needing to be strong. Everyone's needing to be strong. To go through the dark. Number 8, right? You have the Emperor and the Empress. 14. Queen of Cups. Oh, didn't I have the King of Cups too? Yeah. Oh my god. Aww. They're the ones who speak on the water. So we have like some really spiritually connected pair here. They love each other. Or they're just like very much in their feels. Yeah, I kept it out. Singer of courage, guys. Be courageous. Be courageous to do something. There's something that you need to do. We all probably know what that is. We got the King and the Queen of Cups. We got the Emperor and the Empress. Ace of Wands. Holy shit. The Magician. The Two of Cups. We can have anything we want. You just have to believe. You have all of the aces popping up all the time. Just let the light in. King of Wands. King of Wands with the Ace of Wands. Follow the wands until the break of day. Follow your passions. Follow your fire. There's lots of options. That we could have a king, like there could be like a really attractive king here. The King of Wands showing up. Usually the King and the Queen of Wands, they represent my torchbearers, but sometimes it's just like, someone could have a lot of options. But there's only one that really lights your fire. There's only one thing, when it comes to anything. This is like anything that we want out of life. During the times when we cannot see, when we're going through the dark of the moon, strength, hermit, moon, it's the star and then the moon. Are you guys paying attention? Have you guys been following along with this? It's a system. It's a system. The answer comes with a system, not with pulling random cards. These are just reminders. They're reminders that you're going to be tempted and that you're going to be confused. You're not going to be able to see clearly, and that you must have faith. There's 2 ways to look at it. This is like the major arcana. We have faith, we follow the fire. We have faith, we follow the star. We believe in ourselves, we believe in God, and we walk through the dark 1 foot at a time. And sometimes in like our physical reality, in our day-to-day life, it's like, obviously it's not actually dark out. It's not actually foggy out. But we still It's like our direction, our focus needs to be on the things that inspire us, the things that light us up inside, the things that make us feel creative, the things that turn us on. Once you know what that is, then you drive forward without looking back. That's the Toad Code. I want to like back up and just remind you guys of the main message of this reading. The main message of this reading has to do with our charts, with the fact that sometimes we can be not good. And we have to have compassion for ourselves. Oh, this is what I wanted to say with the Emperor and the Empress. I think I never got around to it. Maybe I did. It's like, just a reminder. When we are in our divine masculine and our divine feminine roles, we are not perfect. But it means that we're ready to do the work together. It means that we're ready to try. Instead of wearing the mask, where's Slovenia's? Instead of continuing to wearing a mask and saying, oh, I am good, I am this, and pretending that we don't have issues, it's about Four of Wands, laying all, this is my Toad Code theory with the Four of Wands. Oh, I can see it here. Anyway, but we lay everything out. You say, this is who I am. These are my needs. These are my boundaries. And this is my shit. It's this part of the Toad Code, right? You take off the masks. And then you can work through it. Because I even posted a quote about this. It's like, now that you no longer have to be perfect, you can be good. Because none of us are perfect. This Soul Shrinker card, someone says some mean things, and there's some people out there that are like depressed. There's people out there that are blocked in their throat because they're afraid that they're just going to be mean, or they're going to say mean things. Someone could just feel like they're cursed, you know, but you're not. The curses break when we look at them and then we surrender them, and we just try a little bit more, right? Someone needs courage. It's funny, it's 8. All right, that's strength. Strength is also, it's about taming our anger. It's about taming our aggression. It's about taming the beast. And sometimes that's really hard, especially if we have a difficult placement, you know, with our Mars or with whatever. Sometimes it's hard. But if we say, oh yeah, it's coming from this place in my chart, then you hold the power. You hold the power.